This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. As the days get shorter and colder, it can really take a toll on how we feel. Maybe that means calling your grandma, writing a letter to your friend, finally grabbing lunch with someone you haven't seen in a while. And just like reaching out to a friend, starting therapy can take a bit of courage. BetterHelp makes it easy to start therapy. You'll be matched with a licensed therapist based on your needs and preferences so you can focus on your growth and goals. Not happy with your match? You can switch therapists anytime with no hassle. This month, don't wait to reach out, whether that's checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself. BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. And our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/PFF. That's betterhelp.com/PFF.
The New York Giants heading to the Chicago Bears. Bears coming off a big win. Highest graded single game of Caleb Williams' career last week. You want to talk about the Giants or do you want to talk about the Bears here?
I'm going to go with the Giants offense, and I think something amongst all the playmaking that Jackson Dart has done since he's been the starter, I think when you look at his recent games, other than obviously that Saints game where they turned the ball over as a team 5 times, he's been really safe with the football too. I think the ball security to combo with the playmaking, that's how you get highly graded on our scale, is you make big plays and you don't turn the football over. He's only got 2 turnover-worthy plays in his last 4 games. That ball security, that's going to be crucial for this game because, look, the Bears are pretty low. They're bottom 10 in coverage grade. There's a lot of times they bend and don't break or they make a lot of mistakes on the back end, but they're leading the NFL in takeaways. They're leading the NFL in interceptions. They have a plus 13 turnover margin. That's the best in the league. I think a lot of this is going to come down to, first and foremost, Jackson Dart and the Giants keeping themselves in this game on offense. If he continues with the good ball security that he's had lately, then they have a shot because as long as you don't turn it over, this Bears defense is vulnerable. They traded for a pass rusher, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka from the Browns because Dayo Odeyingbo is now out with a torn Achilles. So you might see him having to deal with Dennis Allen and a lot of the blitz packages and taking off running more, but I would rather have him running and scrambling, doing all that and making plays outside the pocket than turning the ball over. Lately, he's done a great job of protecting the football. He's going to need that in this game.
2 things on the other side of the ball when it comes to what the Bears were doing on the offensive side last week and how the Giants better have an answer for it. One of them is with the Chicago Bears offensive line. Now, they were going up against a Cincinnati Bengals defensive line that is not good. Young, not good. It does not have a lot of impactful players there right now with how they're playing this season, and the numbers showed that. The Bears' offensive line last week, 93.7 run blocking grade. It's a big reason why we saw such a great output from Kyle Monangai. Not to take anything away from him, he was also a major factor in what he was able to do as a playmaker. Dalton, I don't know about you, but I watched a lot of Kyle Monangai games to Rutgers. There are a lot of things that he did well. Yards after contact, lowering the shoulder, the play strength that he had, the play balance, all that kinds of stuff. But I did not see a getaway type of an athlete. He played with more juice and explosiveness last week with the Chicago Bears than I think I saw for any single game that he played in college. So kudos to him. He did a great job taking advantage of that opportunity to be able to start. And we know that he's going to be somewhat involved in the rushing attack for them moving forward throughout the rest of the season. Bears 71.9 impact run blocking percentage going against a defense with the New York Giants that has a 46.0 run defense grade this season. That is not great. You've got good potential players to be good run defenders, but they haven't shown up and been able to do that. So that has to change. And then also converting the pressures that you get from a good defense, a talented defensive line, into sacks, or at least containing Caleb Williams. You and I watched that game last week, and as the Bears were playing it, we were like, boy, it sure looks like Caleb Williams looks right at home. It looks like he is wearing a Trojans jersey in this game with how he was able to scramble outside of the pocket. He plays alive, make throws deep down the field when he was veering towards the sideline. That's sort of vintage Caleb Williams. So the defensive line has to play a lot better in this game for New York, not only in run defense and holding their own on the line of scrimmage, but also in contain. As they are trying to get after Caleb Williams, are they able to bring him down or at least not let him break and get out to the sideline? The trends of these teams and really the trend of how Chicago played last week should make it so that I should pick the Bears here. But I kind of think that this is a game that's not going to make a lot of sense. And I lean more into how well Jackson Dart has been playing as of late when it comes to not putting the ball in harm's way. And I think he will have to in this game to outduel Caleb Williams a little bit. But Dalton, give me the Giants 24, Bears 23, just because this feels like it could be one of those wacky games that doesn't make sense this week.
I mean, the Bears feels like the Bears play those games every week anyway. So you calling out nonsense in this exact game, just I mean, that's kind of normal at that point. When nonsense becomes normal, that's Chicago. But no, I think the Giants, or sorry, I think the Bears leaning on this run game lately is big. And I know Caleb Williams did have his highest graded game, and he saved them from what would have been an awful loss against Cincinnati here against the Bengals. But I do think the base of this team now, and Ben Johnson getting into the foundation of this run game with Monangai, if they have DeAndre Swift back, he's been good lately too, and then allowing Williams to work off play action in a much more normal setting, because before we got all that nonsense last week in the last 4 minutes, they were up 14 with the football with the run game dominating. I think Ben Johnson wants to keep that going. The Giants only have 2 starting players with run defense grades above 65 on their team. That's Kayvon Thibodeau and Javon Holland, the free safety. Not good enough yet in the front 7. I like the Bears' run game to control it. I think they come out with a win that they really need. They need to win this game and be 6-3 going into a difficult back end of their schedule. I have it weird score 28-22 Bears.
Walt's yelling at me in the chat. He's saying, you don't believe that, Trevor. Hey, week-to-week league. Week-to-week league, Walt. That's what the coaches say. I'm going to believe him. I'm going to take the Giants in this one just because.